Hello? Is anybody there? Holy shit, what is this? It's a Binding of Isaac Rebirth LP, what do you know? After what is pretty much an absence of forever, it's back, and apparently being gone for so long means that you get to be really lucky. So yeah, we're gonna play as Eve. Normally it's supposed to be a challenge to play as Eve, but it's unfortunately not going to be the case in this one playthrough, considering that usually when you get Brimstone during the first seconds of your run, your game is pretty much over, and in a good way, I mean. So yeah, a whole lot has happened ever since I did an update of this. Afterbirth finally came out, and we're eventually going to play it as soon as I get through all of the footage of Rebirth that I recorded. I'm gonna talk about it in due time. I definitely have my ups and my very downs compared to this game. I mean, it did a bunch of really neat things to the game, but in overall I think there was a lot of things that really were not needed and probably should have been discarded altogether, because most of the expansion just seemed like it was made from the school of design of throw shit on the wall and see what sticks and whatnot. With that said, I have to look back at the footage that I'm recording, and I have to say the engine definitely has been improved ever since. In comparison, Afterbirth really is a whole lot smoother, especially when it comes to like items falling on the ground, that sort of thing. It's like, it just seems as if everything falls down with only 4 or 5 frames. And we get the trinket that we unlock on our last original run. We get the Blue Baby Soul. He's a familiar that you can discard whenever you feel like doing so, whenever you'll have a better trinket at your disposal. He's kinda weird, but he can come in handy every once in a while. He just bounces all over the room, and he'll shoot homing projectiles at enemies that deal like 3.5 damage, just like almost every basic familiar of the game. But most of the time, however, the familiar is just going to randomly shoot at walls like that, so honestly, I kind of prefer Isaac Sid in comparison. It just feels like it's more useful in overall. Also, the other item that we got in the treasure room some time ago was Magneto. It just attracts items towards you, and by that I mean items that you can pick up. All in all, it's more of a convenience item. It's generally useful in order to get items that are located beyond pits that you cannot cross. I think in the original game, it also had the effect to attract troll bombs toward you, making it so that there's an incentive to not even pick this item up. So all in all, it's definitely a particular thing. So yeah, we've gotten to the point in our playthrough where we're gonna have to monitor our health, because I picked up an Eternal Heart, which means that we'll have a heart container by the end of this floor. So let's try not to pick up too many heart containers unless that I somehow increase my damage furthermore. Also, hello amazing item. Whenever you play as Eve, the Miller is amazing because it means you can skip on any item that gives you HP and make it so that you're just going to rake on the soul hearts and make it so that you'll still have a shitload of health while keeping demon form. Man, every single time that I look at this shop, I'm just like, wow, this place is really empty. Honestly, I'm a very bad person here. I probably should have donated my coins to the donation box before buying all of this junk, but part of me kinda wants to have more trinkets at hand. As well as having low luck. As well as a shit ton of spiders, because, well, the juicy sack is really good for having spiders, and since almost everything dies so quickly because of Brimstone, well, I have the time to get a shitload of spiders because they're not gonna... Oh, I probably should not have picked that up. This is a terrible item to pick up as Eve, because not only it gives you a red heart, but over time it will regenerate your health. So unfortunately we lost all of our extra damage, even though you wouldn't guess looking at me, just because I'm a fantastic demon lady. But to be fair, I don't think that we picked up the placenta yet, so I'd be a fool to skip on it for the time being. And besides, I'm pretty sure that we can easily find the demon room in order to make it so that we'll be able to get rid of our heart. Also, look at what Magneto can do for you. A shitload of these rooms where there are spikes and everything, no problem. You just wait for the items to casually go by it and reach you very slowly. Hey, I was gonna say talk about the devil, but instead it's this freaking jerk butt of Krampus. And in Afterbirth, this guy is even more of a jerk because he gained a new attack, and finally one of his items is now very, very nerf. Like, Head of Krampus is not as reliable in Afterbirth than it is now, because it has one-headed effect, and I really hate it. But we'll see about that whenever the time will come. I think I've done something like 4 more runs of this, as well as 4 challenge runs. Not entirely sure what I've did ever since, because some of the footage that I've had for this LP is now months old, so yeah, I'm just casually rediscovering everything that I've done in the past months. Just in a very passive stance. Honestly, I don't feel like wasting a key in order to go to the store, considering that I only have 3 coins. But maybe we'll get more. Yeah, all of these 2 coins. Now it's time to go to the store, okay, or to just go fight the Hollow. Also, don't ask me what the hell I've done here. I guess I just wanted to insta-kill this boss by simply using my black heart, because otherwise I don't really know why I've done that, but it's still pretty funny to see a boss die in only 1 hit. The Hollow and Larry Jr. are really frail bosses because they have so little health. Well, I mean, they have the same amount of health than some other bosses, but the thing is, every single segment have like a certain amount of health, and basically the entire health of the bosses, all of the health of the extra parts, all added together. So this is why whenever you use like a death card or something, these bosses will die in only 1 hit. Haha, you thought that you found the secret area? Well, guess again, you just found me. Hopes I died. Yeah, that's the famous words of greed, aka a boss that pretty much no one likes to see. Although, well, having a Steam sale will definitely be good here because I'd be able to buy a shitload of things. Yeah, also, kind of a weird thing concerning Magneto. You saw that you can get items to get sucked through blocks, but the lock gates that require a key for you to open, nope. These are completely impassable in every single way, unless that you open them. So even though we don't really have a whole lot of damage at our disposal, we're still pretty overpowered. I mean, we have Spider's Bite, which means that almost every single time that we attack an enemy, it's gonna have a slow effect applied to it. Also, why the hell did I go into that little locked door earlier? Well, not locked door, but the arena. At this point, I'm not even sure what I'm doing. And yes, I'm still saying at this point, I don't think it's ever dying. Sorry, everyone. Okay, so now we have a Brimstone that can slow down enemy, but Scorpio makes it so that we have a poisonous Brimstone, so now we have the bonus of oh my god, I just wanted to have 200 coins in the donation machine. Is it that hard to have, game? But yeah, Scorpio makes it so that... okay, so essentially I lost 1 health because of the bad trip, and now I gain 1 extra heart. I'm just gonna let it be empty because, well, Placenta is just going to fill it up over time anyway, and if I can get demon form again somehow, it will be neat. So, as I attempted to say something like 5 times already, Scorpio makes all of your tears poisonous, which further helps out in the damage department, even though Looking at this, well, the poison definitely is not as efficient in Afterbirth. No, wait, it's the opposite. In Rebirth than it is in Afterbirth. It just seems to be a little bit more powerful. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep on the red patch because I think it's gonna be more useful than the blue baby soul. Okay, we're not picking up Ghost Baby because it's a good item, but because we're one step closer to get rid of all of our red hearts so that we can permanently be a demon and get extra damage. Yeah, the more that I think about it, maybe I skip this arena room just in order to make it to the boss rush, because even though we did it in the last update, well, it was a challenge, so that doesn't mean that we cleared the boss rushes. So we're gonna have to remedy to that, but since we already cleared it in the other video with an overpowered build, we're probably going to fast forward through it again because, well, you can clearly see that it's not going to be challenging at all because of our loadout, so yeah, we're just going to cut to the parts that are interesting. Besides, this run is gonna be lengthy enough as it is. And yeah, the lasers that are shot by Krampushead also applies the stats or the FX modifier that our tiers have. Krampushead can slow down and poison enemies too, just in the likelihood that enemies hit by it don't immediately die after like 1 second, which is like only bosses. Even bosses that have a shitload of HP like the Cage will lose about half of their HP because of that. Oh, do we have a chance to get rid of all of our hearts? No, but this card is full of hearts because money is always a good thing to have in this game. Poor little leaper enemy. I poisoned him as he jumped really high in the air, so therefore he just jumped up while he was about to barf, and then the end result probably was very nasty. Yeah, oh, yeah. I keep forgetting what pills do, sorry about that, I did not mean to pick that. As a reflex, I just buy every pill that I find, just because I usually forget what they do, so I need a constant reminder of what they do, because otherwise we're not gonna get anywhere. Alright, and now the game is officially over, because we have Tammy Zed. Normally it's a pretty good item, because it shoots a shitload of tears all around you that deal a hefty amount of damage, but yeah, this is what it does with Brimstone. If we were literally anyone but Heave, the boss will have immediately died because of that. Usually that's the key to like most of the speedruns of the game. People just take Eden, aka the character with the special items, and you give him a seed that gives him both Brimstone and Tammy Zed, and they finish the game in like 4 minutes. It's the most boring thing in the world, and somehow people at HGDQ just showed that off in an attempt to look cool or something. I don't really see it. But yeah, this boss rush is not going to be any thrilling or anything, because we have the Mitter, which is going to give us an endless supply of blue hearts. And finally, even though we don't have a whole lot of damage, Brimstone is good enough so that you can kill anything out of harm's way in any good way whatsoever, so we're not even gonna watch all of this. We're just gonna fast forward in order to see the fights. Oh, holy shit, I did get hit once. Okay, I'm surprised. I did not expect that, because I'm pretty sure that's the only time that I got hurt during the entire fight. This is as low challenge as it gets. I mean, even with just Brimstone, it will be possible to do like a no-hit run of the boss rush, even though it's like 15 waves of 2 bosses apiece. I mean, Brimstone is just that good. I mean, I said that this run was not going to be any challenging. I mean, just look at how many soul hearts there are on the floor. I could get hit something like 7 or 8 more times, and it will have literally no repercussions whatsoever. That's how good the Mitter is. Yep, 2 more soul hearts because we need all of them. Oh god, everything is slow again after slowing everything down to a crawl like that. But I just wanted to slow it down for the last wave of the fight. And yeah, in Afterbirth, the boss rush is a little different because the bosses are all going to be different. And unfortunately, we get a pretty mere reward in order to do the boss rush. We get the Doctor's Remote. It launches a remote bomb that you guide with your keyboard. It does a whole lot of damage, but honestly, this is not an item that I really feel like using once every 2 rooms or so. Right now, Tamized is the best. But the other reward that we got out of doing the boss rush is unlocking Heave's Mascara. I have very mixed feelings concerning this item because honestly, I feel as if most of the time this item barely does anything because it's outright detrimental to your progress. Or it can virtually do nothing. What this item does is multiply your damage by 2. Oh yay, that's awesome, I like to have multiple damage. Oh wait, I'm not done yet. Because it also halves your firing rate, as well as diminish by half the speed of your tears, which means that most of the time this item is pretty much going to screw you over, because you're not going to be able to hit most enemies unless you're right into their faces, and finally you deal damage about the same speed. Essentially, the only time when you'll want to get Eve's Mascara is when you have items like Mom's Knife, which does a steady amount of damage without ever firing, and where range doesn't really matter at all because you're gonna be used to having a short range anyway. But if you just have regular tears, it's just going to damage you or possibly ruin your entire playthrough. So this is an item with which you have to be really careful. So I was just going to stomp these rocks just in order to see if there was any rocks that were hiding anything, whether it is items or just little crawl spaces, but at this point I didn't figure out the trick in order to figure out which rocks were hiding something in the womb because it's really hard to see, but you have to figure it out by the little X that is at the corner, and it's barely possible to see because it blends in so well with the color of the rock. So now here's Daddy Longlegs. He's kind of a bastard. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to see what he can do, and the only reason why I'm picking up meat is because of the slight damage up. And yeah, Guppy's Herbal is once again just picked up as a last-ditch attempt to try and get Guppy, but it's way too late in the playthrough to think about having him. But on the flip side, we are going to the Dark Room, and that means 4 Devil Chests at the very beginning of the place, so maybe we'll be able to get Guppy items there. Yeah, this is definitely a situation where Juicy Sack is very useful. It makes a complete mockery out of bosses or mini-bosses like Lost or Super Lost, because you can just slow them forever into your tracks. So now here's the biggest adversary of our Demon Lady. Demon Poop! Mwahaha. No wait, the Demon Poop is once again something that is in Afterbirth. And I'm not kidding, by the way, this is definitely a thing that exists. Also, I hate this room because almost every single time that I step in it, I usually just step in way too fast, and this makes it so that I'm just going to walk in the spikes and lose a heart. But hey, at least I get a heart right away. Also, Telepathy for Dummy probably would have been good. Yeah, see what I mean? I always get hit by this room just because I usually always rush in whenever I go into a new room. I really hate it when they do that. Also, Telepathy for Dummies probably would have been a good pick just because homing Brimstone is always hilarious, but you cannot really say no to Tamized Brimstone, even though it completely nullifies any challenge in the game. Okay, and the game is over. We can just use that in order to further remove any skill from the game, because we're just going to activate this whenever we'll fight the lamb. And I have no clue what the hell I was attempting to do here. Was I trying to dare myself and just try to kill this enemy using only the Ghost Baby, which honestly is not really the best thing out there since sliced bread? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still better than Brother Bobby and Sister Maggie because it has spectral tears, but most of the time, whenever you have familiars, you're always going to go with the assumption that blocks are going to block their shots, so usually you're just going to end up using him the same way that you'll use any other familiar in the game. Also, I love using 2 keys just in order to get 2 coins and a whole lot of spiders. And yeah, you see the fun of having Poisonous Brimstone. I mean, it would have been even better if the... I'm not even sure what the hell the thing in the middle is supposed to be. I just call it some kind of turtle horse demon of the womb thingy. If somebody has a better name for it, make sure to let me know. Okay, so are we going to have a better fight against It Lives? Well, considering that we have Tammy Zed and Brimstone at our disposal, I'm gonna go and guess no. Or maybe I'm not using it just in order to allow It Lives to have a fair fight, so maybe we're gonna have an epic fight where we're going to see It Lives unleash all of the bosses that it can unleash. Yeah. Sometimes it's just going to throw bosses against you while it's shooting a shitload of projectiles all over the place. Sometimes when you have certain enemies spawning, it can make for a very problematic boss fight. In fact, I definitely got hit a whole lot during this fight, but we still get our devil room anyway. Not that it matters because it's just going to contain our portal leading to Sheol. That's something that has been improved in Afterbirth, by the way. If you have It Lives on lock, whenever you go into the devil room, you're gonna have an actual deal and not, well, you know, just this gate waiting for you and doing absolutely nothing. Either way, who knows why I even went in this arena, especially since the prize was only 1 gray box. Usually you don't want to do challenges in the womb or Sheol if the reward isn't really worth it, but I mean, it's still not gonna take a whole lot of time. Although I completely botched up my laser shot over here. I mean, apparently there's a way to miss whenever you shoot 10 lasers all over the screen. Not sure how, but allow me to find ways to solve all of your biggest conundrums in the world. With that said, however, we're definitely seeing that now the game definitely caught up on my power level because I'm definitely not blazing through rooms as fast. I mean, I probably could blaze through the rooms as fast if I used Tammy Zed any remotely, but I don't know, it just feels like cheating. I always feel bad whenever I use this item coupled with Brimstone because it completely removes all challenge. Okay, but to be fair, I somehow managed to get hit even after shooting this huge array of lasers all over the place. Oh, did I mention that I hate these ghosts? Whenever you just move around it, they just end up spawning on top of you just because where they decided to spawn was just where you were going to move. I mean, I don't think these ghosts can specifically spawn on top of you, but sometimes accidents happen, but yeah, I'm definitely getting my butt kicked right now. I have lost a shitload of health already. I might do with something that will make me more powerful because I'm somehow struggling to get by right now. Oops, and here I go running into slow-moving projectiles. Oh god, this room is definitely huge, dudes. I mean, it's very rarely seen in the game, so almost every time that I see it, I always get caught off guard by all of these Brimstone statues. I'm pretty sure this is the only room layout where they can ever appear, so it always comes as kind of a surprise. And finally, the enemy choice makes it so that you have to stay in the room for a significantly long amount of time because of how you have to wait for the host to become vulnerable to your attacks. So it's definitely a well-crafted death plan or death trap. Also, come on, use your Tammy Zed against the ghosts. I mean, I said that it's cheating, but these ghosts deserve to cheat on because they're really huge bastards. They have way too much health. Their attack, well, I guess it's not too bad, but it's really annoying to deal with. Also, yeah, we're not going to reroll the floor because there's really no point in rerolling Sheol because you get absolutely nothing out of it pretty much all of the time. I mean, it would be fun if you were able to reroll like the Dark Room or its alternate counterpart, the Chest, because then you will be able to stockpile on a whole lot of items, but unfortunately, dice rooms do... okay, did they just collide on each other in order to explode to death? I'm not entirely sure what happened there. Also, poor devil. He worked so hard to get free from its leash, but it died like seconds after it finally earned its freedom. Whoops, my familiar fucked up my entire bomb trap. I'm sorry, Ghost Baby, but you did not earn any bonus points in my book. Oh well, it's not as if the Fallen is going to be a hard boss to deal with all of the arsenal that I have. But Satan might be a little bit more of a problem, just because I'm going to chip at his health bar rather slowly, or at least not as fast as I'd like to. Yeah, right now he's definitely into the groove, but I definitely got the more sophisticated power at my disposal. With that said, however, I'm gonna wait until the final phase in order to use Tamized, because then I'm gonna be able to hit both of the legs at once, and that's probably going to be enough to, yeah, to win the fight. Goodbye, Satan, you were a miss. At least your first form was somewhat challenging, so I'm gonna have to give you kudos on that. Yep, so the item that we got to use in the Darkness Fall challenge, or at least for the entirety of that one floor, we finally get to use it with any other characters if we find it. So now it's time for the Dark Room, and it might be a doozy because, as you probably know by now, we cannot force our way out of these rooms unless that we kill all of the bosses that we see inside. And, well, it doesn't help that Daddy Longlegs is a huge jerk, but... Sometimes I think I'm being too nice on some of these enemies. Also, I don't think that in the last playthrough that we did, I talked about the huge golden door that we now see at the beginning of the Dark Room. This is the ultimate endgame point, and in order to be able to open this door, we need a special key, but where could the special key be? Well, the angels are waiting. Yeah, these rooms are pretty annoying with double the gates because it kind of make an unpredictable fight because you never really know which path the brimstone lasers are gonna take, because what they do is they home toward every single enemy that is on the screen, and therefore the more enemies that there are, the more impossible it'll be to dodge the laser because you have no freaking clue where it's even going to go. We're going to wait a bit before we use Tamized, because if we use it right now, what's gonna happen is we're gonna split both of the Fallen into 4 pieces, well, in total I mean, and therefore it's gonna make the second part of the fight a little bit harder. Or maybe I'm just going to ignore that I have this item and I'm just going to do the fight the good old-fashioned way. If we didn't have Tamized, that probably will be the way that you do it. You'll focus on one of them at a time, but yeah, I kinda got a little bit overwhelmed, so it's time to bring in the cheating. This is another nasty room, and well, that's one of these rooms where Tamized is really useful, because if you kill everything all at once here, this entire tiny room is just going to become an entire spider infestation that's gonna be impossible to deal with. At least this room is pretty easy. I have to say, 2 Dark Ones is not the most intimidating thing out there, and I have to say it's much harder whenever you fight it in the double-sized boss room, because then you might lose track of some of them, and that puts you into the perfect position to get Brimstone sniped from below. But when they're in this tiny screen like that, they become so easily manageable, so as long as you have decent and... Ow. Okay, so yeah, we had the baby version of the boss, now it's time to up the difficulty 1,000,000 times with double the adversary. However, these jerks are really shitty no matter the size of the room. I really hate this boss a whole lot because of its homing brimstone laser that is really hard to avoid unless that you know what you're dealing with personally, and when there's two of them on the screen all at once, then the homing brimstone becomes really hard to avoid because you never really know which one of them is going to shoot, so therefore you're just going to hang around anyone and who knows if it'll be the correct adversary. Yep, sorry, I don't feel like dealing with two adversaries all at once, so we're going to use Tammy Z in order to only have one of them on the screen. This way we'll have a fairer fight. And I'm pretty sure that with only one of them, you can be sure that this guy will figure out some way to sneak a hit in. Between the spiders, the homing laser, as well as the death storm that makes a huge area of debris go into a circle, you're probably gonna get hit against this guy. Okay, and here's the after breather. This is the calm before the storm because this is going to be a really easy room. With Brimstone, Mask of Infamy is a complete joke because it got absolutely nothing on the way of attacks if you can just pierce through him without any kind of effort, so therefore, yeah, really easy stuff. So for the slam fight, I tried to be a little bit experimental, but unfortunately I didn't figure out one of the ways that an item works. I wanted to try to poison the lamb to death, but unfortunately, poison doesn't really work that way, so even though I can use the virus to poison somebody by touching them, it's only going to work like once every few seconds or minutes or something. So if I wanted to try and kill this boss without attacking whatsoever, then I need to use Guppy's Airball, and that probably will be the most boring thing in the world. So since this boss has a shitload of health, we're going to use Tammy Z on it yet again, but we're gonna wait until the second form is out and the boss finally splits. With that said, this boss can get really tricky if you get stuck into a corner, and when both of the parts of the boss are alive all at once, because then it can become really hard to manage if too many things are going on at once. And this attack really doesn't help. Unless that you already started to move before the attack even went off, you're going to get hit, so this is a really shitty attack for this boss to have. Most of the attacks that this boss have, I think they're pretty fair play and they work out alright and everything, but this dashing, however, is complete bullshit. I think it's been changed in Afterbirth, thankfully, but yeah, in Rebirth it's kind of crap. But here we go, Heave has now vanquished the Dark Room. By the way, just for people that are wondering what kind of progression this Let's Play will take, well, we're going to get the really nasty part out of the way first, and we're going to clear the Dark Room with all of our characters. Afterwards, we're gonna start to worry about the Cathedral. And we get this trinket as a mean of celebration. So let's have a look at some of the footage that I had to go through in order to get a winning run, because I actually didn't do this on my first go, but yeah, if you visit enough arcade room during the course of your entire adventures, you're going to unlock the Game Kit, which is a pretty neat item, and yeah, that's what the unicorn stump is good for, in order to cheese the hell out of a blood donation machine or the devil beggar in order to get good items, like this. Normally I would have needed to spend so much health in order to get this item, so it's been a win-win situation. Also, these little weird weed-like rocks that you see in the womb can sometimes give you good items, like this placenta right here. Once again, it's terrible if you're Eve, but with almost everyone else, it's kind of a good item to have. And here's for a very long-winded sequence of events that definitely kind of went weirdly. First of all, here's a whole lot of money for me. Then this next floor here gives me a quarter, which gives me 25 more coins. And afterward, the other shop that I find has yet another grade and gives me yet another quarter. It's like, there's no more stores. What am I gonna do with all of this money now? Nothing. Karma has paid off. Holy shit. Perseverance has paid off for all of the long time that I spent without any shops. Yeah, having money equal power with a full supply of coins mean that you get roughly a +4 bonus of damage, and that's a lot. I mean, in order to get this kind of bonus, you will need to get 4 items like the pentagram, synth oil, growth hormone, dark matter, or anything. So, with all of this damage, you probably are wondering, how did I even fail this playthrough? And this is why. This is the worst possible room that you can have in the entire game. 3 cages into this huge room. I mean, just look at these rock attacks that just go in every single direction in a completely crazy manner. It's like, it's impossible to predict how these attacks will go, and most of the time you're not going to figure out anything. And yeah, right here I just got killed because of dark matter. I made the cage scared of me, and by trying to flee the place where it was gonna jump, it instead jumped right where I was, and therefore this made it so that my adventure came to an end. Even though I think with this loadout I was really overpowered, and I really should not have lost, but this room is complete bullshit no matter how you look at it. If you get this room, unless that you're insanely overpowered, you're gonna lose. So that's it for this run, and now stay tuned for what is probably one of my favorite challenges in the game. It's Challenge 7, Suicide King.